Wackerle.
I don't know how.
I thought you were going to tell me.
You know he doesn't know how to do that.
We gotta make sure we tell him to behave himself, Steve, because he'll get out of hand.
I'm the filterless.
I hover over his mute button just to be safe.
It's got the hot sensor button.
Come on, softball pitch one in, Timmy. Watch what happens.
Hold on, we're having some technical difficulties here.
Why is that?
Wackerle, did you renew your Facebook subscription on StreamYard?
Yeah, it's 6 more days and then it'll do it. So
I'm gonna have to remove you. It's not letting it go through. Hold on.
It says there's 9 watching.
See?
I think mine had 6 days too.
I don't know. It messed it up for whatever reason, but we're live now.
Okay.
Let's just do
Hey,
All right.
There you go. He's either acting like a fool or one of his platforms is messing up the stream.
Okay.
So here we go. Anyhow,
It's always me.
Roll that intro.
Always his fault. Ready? Here we go, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to Creative Makers Podcast, episode 102. I'm Joey with Steel Blade Woodworks, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Matt with Wackey Works, BJ with Byroms Custom Woodworks, the famous Mustachio with the wooden mustache, and our special guest, Mr. Steve Moseley, making it at home. How's everybody doing today?
Doing awesome.
Oh, well, everybody talk at one time now.
I'm not outside in this heat, so I am.
It's hot today.
Absolutely wonderful.
Humidity's high.
Yeah,
even up here, even in New England, it's hot. Jeez.
Yeah, my thermometer on the back porch said it was 102 with 85% humidity. Oh no!
There you go.
It's like 85 in the East Coast.
I was watching the thermometer in the vehicle, and we started off in San Antonio. It was about 97. About halfway through, it hit about 99, and then we hit about 100. And then as we got closer to the coast, we came back down to about 97.
The Gulf wind. Yeah.
The big 3-degree drop really cooled it off, didn't it?
Yeah, it makes a whole lot of difference.
It does.
Hey.
Hey, we'll take 1 degree. What are you talking about?
Hey.
We're fixing to get into the dog days here pretty soon. July, August. That's when it really bears down here.
As long as this wind keeps going, because I don't know about you, Joey, but it's been windy as heck up here. That's in the shade, it's bearable.
We took the grandkids this weekend to it was pretty cool. Up there in San Antonio, it's a wildlife kind of a refuge, or you get to drive your own vehicle. All the different animals. It's up there by the caverns. What are they called?
The natural bridge.
Yeah.
Caverns.
So you can go into Natural Bridge or you go into that wildlife refuge. That was the coolest thing, man. It was an amazing place. I mean, saw all sorts of different animals that you never seen before. They were freaking out, and it was hot, And
go ahead. I got a story to tell from that.
And we went like halfway through the deal. It takes about 2.5 hours to make the whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to, there's like a midpoint where you can stop and have ice cream, and it's like a nice little facility, and it was so hot, but you get underneath there and that breeze was blowing. Man, it was so cool. It's like, man, if you had a hammock, it'd have been ideal, So
I'm gonna tell on my wife, and if she's watching, she's probably gonna get mad at me. The last time we went down there, we did did y'all do where you could feed the animals? Did you get the animal feed? So, and we always do that. And she's like, "Oh, look, it's a baby ostrich. I'm going to feed it." And I've got it on video, and I'll find it and I'll send it to you. So she decides to hand feed an ostrich. She about lost a finger.
Yeah.
She's like, "This wasn't a good idea."
That's why they tell you keep your hands in the vehicle, just throw the food on the ground.
Yeah. We did. We've got one up here by us, and most animals are cool, but I don't know if it's llamas or alpacas or whatever. They are aggressive. They will like straight up like stick their head in your vehicle, and if as you try to drive away, they're in there with you, like, hey, you give me some food? Like, I'm not going anywhere. God.
I'd like to talk to you about your.
Yeah.
So usually my wife is the one that's like, I'm the one that's always like, no, you can't do that. You need to follow the rules, right?
Yeah.
And she's more little outgoing. And we got up to, I forgot what it was. I forgot what it was called. Every time we'd come up to one, I'm looking through the brochure and I was like, that's what this is called. And one of them came, it was just sitting there kind of standing, big old long horns. I forgot which, whatever. It's a deer. Let's just say it was a deer, one of the deers.
Yeah.
And it came up. I threw some food. It came up right to the window and it started sticking its snout in. And she's like, "You can't feed him." And I'm like, "Woman, just hush." And I'm sitting there, I'm feeding it, and my daughter's behind me, and my grandson, they're freaking out, and it's like I'm putting my fingers in its mouth, giving it food, and she's like, "You got to get us in trouble," and kicked out. I'm like, so after it was done, all that saliva on, I went toward her, and she's like,
That's when you hold it really close to her and you go, "I'm not touching you. I'm not touching
you." Just stretch and just drag it down the side of her face. Like, oops, my bad. Yeah.
The one here, you got to like sign a waiver for your vehicle and all that kind of stuff. You can drive theirs, but theirs doesn't have air conditioning. It doesn't have all the luxuries, but you can drive theirs, and it's got like bars all over the front windshield and stuff. I'm like, maybe
something's happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife is pretty sure she's going to save every chipmunk at every park we ever go to, even though there's signs everywhere that say, "Don't feed the animals, don't feed the chipmunks, don't feed the squirrels." And she's like, "Come here, my children." Come here. Trying to feed everything.
Oh, mine's named all the squirrels that hang out around the house. And I'm like, yeah, no, let's not do that. We don't like squirrels.
No.
It was fun.
Well, y'all want to get into this, into this beautiful segment that we like to call "What's Glue with You." Now, sponsored by the beautiful glue company, Boss Dog Wood Glue, or Boss Dog Glue Company.
Mm-hmm.
And
sir,
like to put a shout out there to them. Thank you all. Thank you for coming on board with us. I used some Boss Dog this week, but we're going to start this off with our guest, since we have a guest on this week. So, Mr. Steve, what is going on in your shop this week?
Well, last week I just got the new Oliver planer, the 15-inch planer, and I haven't put a piece of wood through it yet. So this week I'm going to be trying that out for the first time and seeing how that 40 blade helical head compares to my old, not really that old, but my DeWalt 735 with the 3 straight blades. And I'm guessing it's going to be a lot quieter for one thing, and probably give me a much better cut. But that'll be this week. Getting the new machine running and making sure everything's working properly.
Very cool. So, and that one's 220, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I've got the 735 with the helical head, the Shelix head.
Yeah.
And I'd looked at that and I was like, man, that's, have to upgrade, have to get a 220 plug and everything else. But that going from 13 inches to, because the DeWalt's 13.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So 13 to 15, it doesn't seem like a lot, but there's been some times it's like, it would be kind of nice to have. And that 220 makes a whole lot of difference, because I run a lot of hickory through my shop.
Oh, yeah.
And man, I can run maybe 30 board feet before I've got to shut mine down because it starts to overheat. Yeah. Oh, it'll pop that thermal switch.
Let me ask y'all, how many times have y'all tripped a breaker with y'all's?
I've never tripped a breaker with mine.
Always the reset on the actual machine.
It's on the front. And then you're constantly like pushing that reset button. Just like, come on, just sit in there.
Yeah.
Got like 3 inches to go.
I always, if I have help out there, if my kids or wife are out there helping, I have them stand downwind of the fan, because I've got mine. I modified mine to where it throws the chips up.
Oh yeah.
And so it just exhausts, the fan just exhausts out of the back, and it's like, all right, your job, other than to catch the wood coming out, is to let me know when this air is getting hot.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, hey, it's getting a little warm, and of course I'm like, it's not warm enough yet. It's not there. And then that next pass, pop, it's like, and then I'll get told you, Dad. I'm like, yeah. Well,
Hey,
let's go take a break because it's gonna have to cool down for about 30 minutes before we can.
That's what you were really trying to do.
Yeah,
don't lie.
exactly.
You wanted to
break.
No. I hate running that planer, so I want to get it done and get it over with.
Whenever I run my DeWalt 735, about 10 minutes in, I can go in the house and my wife will be like, "Are you almost done?" It's like really loud.
Yeah,
it is.
All right. Well, let's move this over to the man, the myth, the face of the podcast. And I think some of us already know, but the world wants to know.
What's in the box?
There's a lot of things in the box after this week. One thing that I forgot to get this over here, but I mean, this is what I came home to, and our sponsor,
Mine's my shop,
sent us a goodie package.
I haven't gotten mine yet, and
let me tell you what, it's pretty nice. You're gonna be very surprised when you get it. I'm not gonna display what's in
Oh no, Matt's already opened his and shown me.
Yeah.
That was private. That wasn't, everybody to see. Come on.
Something that I really want to
the box. Oh, the box.
The box.
I'm very proud of these. I think it was maybe at the last year, beginning of this year, at some point. Tony Relu from Hillview Wooden Tool, or just Hillview Tool.
Yeah.
I ordered these beautiful handmade squares.
He's making them again
with mesquite inlay. Well, this round already went through.
Oh,
you had to order these, and I finally got them in Friday. When I was leaving out the door, they came in, and I, like a little kid, I actually opened the box because I've been waiting on these, and these things are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, absolutely gorgeous. And they're nice.
Well, real quick, I'm going to put this out to everybody. The next time he does a run, somebody send me a message, because I missed it this last time because I would have bought them.
I want the hand planes when he does a run.
Yeah, that one. I think that's going to be my next one. Is waiting on that.
Yeah,
it's a pricey hand plane, but it's beautiful.
Beautiful.
I mean, that thing is freaking amazing. But yeah, I've been waiting on those. Those things are freaking nice. I mean, if you watch this, Tony, awesome job. But I'm going to message and do a video on them. Those are pretty nice.
Nice.
Those are good heirloom tools, that can be passed down. And that's just like, I'm really happy to have those in the shop. But I got some stuff coming up. We got to work on that laser video, that the laser they sent me, that ASMR, whatever. That's going to be coming up. So I got to work on that this week. I need to get a video out on that. And then work on organization. I got to build those cabinets for the sustainer cabinets. So I'm going to jump on that too. Got a lot of stuff coming up, but out of pocket this weekend. So I didn't get to do anything, but anyhow, let's move it on to Mr. Wackerle. What's going on in your shop?
Hanging sustainers. Try not to shoot my arms while I do it. In the videos, but I'm like, literally in the video you can see me, I'm trying to, like, there's fingers operating things just so that you can see what I'm doing now. That'll be going out pretty soon. So I got a bunch of those hung, got the cabinets made already for them. Those are done, so all I got to do is hang the rails and make full extension sustainers. So that'll be good. Had my air conditioner go out on me a while back, one of them, for the shop. I have two, because I like to be able to drop that temperature down to 62, 65, somewhere in there, where if I want to, especially if I'm doing a lot of resin tables, I want to keep it nice and cool in there. I don't want it to get thermoactive on me as fast. And so one of them was out. They came in, and I decided, they gave me a price, and it was cheaper. The price they gave me was cheaper than what I could buy it for, and that was installed. And I said, come on.
Yeah.
Well, they showed up when I wasn't here, and I have 2 truckloads of burl sitting in a corner that exactly where they had to go. So they moved it all. And I said to myself, well, I have to move it back myself, and I'm not going to do that. So I just went ahead and cut everything up into bowl blanks. And I cut 26 the first day, and I thought, that was a bunch. I don't know if I'm going to cut the rest of them. The next day, I jumped in there and cut 30 more. So I got 56 bowl blanks cut in 2 days, and it's all burl. And so maple burl, walnut burl. I mean, I've seen a whole bunch in there.
Is it all local to you?
It's a what?
Is it all local to you? Or?
Yeah.
Oh,
They
wow.
actually have a place down the road here where they get rid of trees, and the owner of the property, he just burns them. And so what he does is he'll find the burls, cut those off, and his son used to be a wood turner, and he kind of gave up. So his son's been just bringing them just bringing them to me, truckloads of burl. And I'm like, oh, please don't.
I mean, okay, yeah. You twist.
But it's getting to a point where I'm gonna have to either start selling them, doing something here to get rid of these things, because there's no way I'm gonna turn that many. But I mean, because they're not little.
Not with that attitude, you won't.
Well, I mean, I think the smallest one I had was like I think it was 18 or 17 inches in diameter. So everything's 22 inches. I had to stop it at 22 because that's all my lathe can take. So 22 to 17 inches is what I have sitting there, and they're all stacked up on a shelf right now. I got 2 dehumidifiers in that shelf area, so it's pulling all the moisture out of it as I can. So I got that done. And then I'm doing a little shop organization on everything else, cleaning everything up, and CNC. So been really working on the CNC. Been talking to Scott over at Willow Creek there. We talked last night about it, and I'm going to get my lathe that I have already bought. That's in the box. Been in the box for a while. But it's going to be, I'm going to get the lathe out for the CNC and see how that goes.
Wait, what? You have something in the box?
I have something in the box. Been in there for almost 2 years. Because I was waiting on, I had the Bilbotics, and I was waiting on them to go to the Masso. They have the Masso now. And now I got to have that conversation because it's not their lathe. It's another lathe, but I've seen somebody else hook it up. So, and he has the sheet for it and everything, how to install it. So I'm probably going to be gearing up to do that too. So that's probably my next install.
What's your focus on with the lathe on the rotary on the CNC?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mostly want to do with it?
The first thing I'll be doing is chess pieces. Because I do a lot of,
cool.
doing a lot of cutting boards. So I want to do different types of chess pieces. And then I want to try to do some hollow form chess pieces. So they're just spirals that come up. That would be pretty cool. So I'm starting the design for those. And then I don't know, it kind of it's once you have the CNC and you can do 3D, you can do all, everything. And then you can do rotary. It's kind of like, what do you want to do? So it's kind of the sky's the limit at that point in time.
Yeah.
So, and plus, I also have on my lathe, I have it where it's, I can do vertical as well. So I installed a vertical table on mine.
Nice.
Yeah. So I can do all my ends. So I can do, your dovetails, everything. We could be cut right on the CNC.
Do you
kind of
have...
cheating? It's kind of cheating, but
Yeah. So I was thinking, do you have a Woodcraft near you?
I have a Woodcraft that's an hour and 35 minutes away.
I would say check with them on those bowl blanks, because I've got a local friend here that sells slabs and stuff to Woodcraft, and there's another wood store. You might check with them because they're always, my local Woodcraft always has stacks of bowl blanks, so it might be a way to offload some of them.
And I do have to check with them because the last time I told them I had slabs, and they said I needed to have an arborist license to be able to sell slabs to them.
Okay.
And so I had to check with them on the bowl blanks because they did have a bin for bowl blanks. And I don't know if it's from local people. I don't know what it was for. So I just got to check on that. But yeah, being that it's burl. And some people like it. Some people, don't.
I mean, you would think that they would take those, especially when they're offering classes like the Woodcraft in San Antonio. I was going through their classes coming up, and they have a lot of classes for bowl turning coming up.
Yeah, and they usually use like little 4 or 6 inch pieces, 6 inch pieces for that is what they use. And I can cut these up into them. I already got them cut into circles of cylinders of 17 to 22 inches, but I can always cut them up and make them smaller, whatever I got to do.
Yeah.
Usually their lathes are pretty small, so they're in the classroom. They probably don't have.
Yeah, they usually use the Raycon 1070 is what they usually use. That was my first classes with 1070. So
I've been thinking about going and taking one of those classes.
I'd take my daughter got me the class, the very first one, and I had all this YouTube university knowledge of wood turning and years of doing this. And she's like, listen, we're tired of hearing about the lathe. We're going to go take a class for your birthday. And I jumped in that class, and I was through the first bowl within like 30 minutes. And I was like, give me another piece. He's like, we only do two pieces per class. And I'm like, I'll buy more. Let's go.
The addiction hit hard.
And then
you're supposed to be learning, sir, not teaching.
Stop showing off, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was how that first class went. And then I took when I bought the card scrapers. He was like, so you know how to sharpen those? You know how to use all those? And I'm like, well, I've seen it on YouTube. He said, well, come on back. And literally gave me a class back there in the back on how to sharpen your card scrapers and how to get your burr on it and everything. And that was great. That was a great class. Out of the two, I prefer to go to Woodcraft. I think they do a little better job educating what it is that you're using.
Yeah, the Woodcraft up in San Antonio is great. I highly recommend if y'all are in the area to stop by there and visit with those folks. Always nice, plentiful of knowledge. They can talk to you, and they will actually talk to you. Other store, they're not, they're just not so forthcoming like these guys. I really love going into that store over there.
Yeah.
Because Woodcraft, it's usually old woodworkers. They're retired guys that just they still want to work.
They have a passion for it.
Yeah.
And you could really tell that, Steve, going in there, it's like they'll take the time and sit down, and it's like you going into the store. Only thing they lack there is a coffee maker, and you could I would sit there for hours probably just talking. But usually you go in there and it's a group of guys just sitting around, just shooting the bull, and it's a cool atmosphere. I love it.
Yeah. Ours got a coffee maker, a hot cocoa maker, and a popcorn maker. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
They want you to stick around for a while.
But I know. Yeah. I've been to that one in San Antonio a couple of times. Anytime we go down there, I'll, if I've got some time, I'll go and spend an hour or two. It's awesome.
The local Woodcraft to me is about an hour and a half away in Iowa City. And they just expanded this kind of over the winter. And I think they almost doubled their size. So now they're handling a lot more wood. They've got a big classroom set up. And man, it's a nice facility. It's really nice.
But that's most of what's going on with me in my shop. What you got going on, Mustachio?
Oh, let's see. Been doing some modeling and stuff. I had a
hand modeling or underwear.
Arm. I was doing
No, I got the market on that. I mean, see, this was what you saw in the video right here.
You got a competitor, so.
Well, hopefully Wackerle's going to fix that issue. Let's see, because he can't blame it on the camera now. So
no,
I
cannot. I cannot. I got my new camera, so
to do some arm fashion again or not.
No, I made a few. I have one of the bigger M18 Milwaukee blowers, and I made a little made a little model. Well, I didn't make the model. I stole the model off one of the sites out there, and I wanted to add a French cleat onto it. I haven't had great luck printing French cleats straight up, so I'll show you another model. Notice that should be a cleat. It is not.
It's a cleat with hair.
Yeah, it's very hairy.
It's got the mullet going.
Party in the back.
That's right.
But yeah, I did finish the Milwaukee blower. I'll probably do a quick reel on that because I added. The thing about French cleats is you can't just have something hanging there and then nothing behind it. Like the cleat wants something to go downwards.
Yeah,
so it pushes it against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So I added a little weird triangle piece to that, and the model has the Milwaukee like embedded into it on the sides and stuff, so it looks all official and fancy.
So when you're coming down the wall with that piece, and then you're printing an extra piece that's the same thickness as your cleat, correct?
Yes. So the cleat goes in, and then that other part's out from the cleat.
Okay.
Can I give a suggestion?
Sure.
What if you split that model, that French cleat part, and do some heated inserts, and then screw your main plate to it? Once that, so you can print that in a different orientation, and you don't have to worry about supports. And then you can just press some heat inserts in there, and then screw the flat piece that goes down.
Just
you
screw
can
it in. Yeah.
screw it in.
Yeah.
Good idea, Joey.
That's what I'm here for, bud. Glad
he
to
has
help.
them every once in a while.
Yeah.
We're here to help you spend money. That's what we're here for.
There's always like I've been printing a few things this past week, and like before I go to start doing it, I'll orient it on the plate a certain way and just be like, oh, it's got way too many supports, or it's just weird. So yeah, I didn't have a lot of time in the shop. Work's been busy, but I'll get back out there and keep organizing, keep up with these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about all I got. What about you, BJ? What's glue with you?
Well, so organization. I'll just go join the club, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It's a spring cleaning thing.
Yeah, finally got the all of my old HDX storage boxes emptied out and organized into the M89s, and printed a bunch of bins for those. Got the rails installed. Got a video out on the rails. Didn't have my hand in the way, so it's probably why that video. Probably why that video didn't do that well. It's whatever. Hey.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did. I'm telling
you. I filled up a 50-gallon trash can with scrap wood today.
Nice.
Yeah, it was. For some reason, I had a bunch of random, like 2 to 3 inch thick live edge cutoffs, just shoved back in one corner of my shop. That. For some reason I was like, oh, I'm going to use these one day. They're great live edge, whatever. And I got to looking at them. I was like, yeah, they've been here for years. They're going in the trash.
So I think we're all guilty of that, right? I mean, it could be just a little sliver, and that's like that will make something. I'll need it. I'll need it.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen that video where that guy's? I need like a 10-inch piece with that. And he runs out there and pulls through his whole entire thing, and he pulls it out, and it's the exact piece that fits.
Yeah.
Like we all think that's going to happen to us every single day. Because I did the same thing, BJ. Is I put mine in 5-gallon buckets. I don't know how you guys store yours, but like
that's
my cutoff is right there at the miter station. I'll have it right there. And my wife said, "Oh, I'm going to burn boxes today," and so I have a big burn barrel. sitting there for her to burn boxes, and I started bringing out buckets.
Keeping her busy all day.
Yeah, you're gonna have a hot fire, is what you're gonna.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
It's that, and it's I milled some 18, 1 foot to 18 foot and a half, walnut logs several years ago, and they were maybe 10 inches, across, nothing massive. But for some reason, I thought it would be a great idea to keep the outermost edges of the logs, which is majority bark. And I'm like, oh, I'll get out here and I'll chisel off this bark, and I'll have this, neat little like island looking charcuterie board or whatever. Yeah, I just grabbed I had them all stacked up on a shelf. I grabbed every single one of them, threw them in the trash. I was like, I milled those up when I was in my old house, so at least 8 years ago when I milled those up. So it's like, if I haven't used them in 8 years, I'm not going to use them. And
but it still breaks your heart to throw them away, doesn't it?
It honestly doesn't. I'm going on a purge. I had some old woodworker that was retiring. He gave me 2 5-gallon buckets worth of cutoffs, and he's like, "These are great cutoffs." I'm like, "Yeah, they are," because I was getting into it. So both of those buckets are empty now. I'm like, this is, because I was looking through it. I'm like, this is all junk.
So 2 years ago, this is when I bought the lathe portion for the CNC. Mm-hmm. I started cutting and collecting 2-inch by it's 2.5 by 2.5 by 7-inch pieces of wood that I have stacked in milk crates, and I have 5 milk crates full of.
And what are you gonna do?
Chest pieces.
Oh, okay.
That's the whole reason I did it, is so I would have blanks already dried out, ready to go for chest pieces. And so I have a whole milk crate full of walnut.
Steve, this guy has been talking about chest pieces forever. Since I've known this guy, he's like, he's had this I don't know, with chest pieces, and I'm like, I hope he finally does it, because I'm tired of hearing of those chest pieces that he's going to cut, that he's going to make.
So when we talk about scrap, if I can get a 2.5 by 2.5 by at least 7-inch out of it, that's so. When I cut all these these bowl blanks out, I had pieces left over, and I cut those into 2.5 by 2.5 pieces.
You look at the piece,
burl.
Do you look at the piece and go, a scrap piece, and go, "Oh man, that looks like a rook." Oh,
it does everything. I'm telling you.
Oh, that's the castle. That's going in the castle bin.
Oh,
Matt, if it makes you feel any better, I have a milk crate too, full of pieces about that size, because I had been watching a bunch of videos on pin making, and I was like, "Oh, these would be great for pins," and I have got epoxy cutoffs about the same size, and it's like I'm never gonna get a lathe. Like
I literally, my wife does pin blanks, that, and she's probably got about 300 blanks out there. No, I don't want to do that one today. No. Yeah. So,
but yeah,
that's the real talent of Wacky Works, if you didn't know that.
It is. I mean, I'm just here I just lift heavy stuff.
He's here to do arm videos. That's what he's
exactly.
Well, without her, all of his stuff would just be one color too. So
exactly.
Oh,
that's true.
True.
All blue. In fact, I remember one of the conversations we had. Why do you always make blue and white blanks? I'm like, because I can see it.
That's all I can see.
Yeah. So.
Oh.
Matt, you can play chess, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh my God, Steve! If he would have said no,
I know.
He's gonna lie really anyway. He doesn't know.
No, the horse is beating you up.
No, I'm really good at checkers.
I make a chess piece.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Other than we got all of the horse stall mats. My workbench and table saw, that my whole center island is wrapped in horse stall mats now. So
Nice.
got my daughter out there. She helped me do that. And then she proceeded without asking to take all the old, like locked together foam padding, that EVA foam, because I had an empty space in front of my toolbox. And she's like, you need this over here because you come to your toolbox a lot. Like, okay. So she proceeded to put it all together around the toolbox, and she was more impressed because now her little rolly stool that she plays on out in the shop rolls really fast on the stall mats. So she spent half the day rolling. We were watching the race, and she spent half the time rolling back and forth across the shop. And I'm like, child, you're getting a little annoying, but I'm having fun. And then I look over, she's got a broom using it like an oar. Yeah, she's rowing her boat across the. I'm like, oh my God, I love you, but Dad needs some time. So, but yeah, that's. And I've got a couple laser jobs coming up on some cutting boards for a buddy of mine. Other note, I filmed the intro for the dust collection video. A few of y'all have got to see it. I've been judged. It's whatever. I don't care. And the old dust collection system went to its new home today.
Nice.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, we loaded up in his truck when he came to drop off the cutting boards, and he completely forgot about it. He's like, oh yeah, if you don't want it anymore. I'm like, it's either that or it's all going in the trash, because I'm not gonna be able to sell a bunch of cut up pipe and stuff like that. And so he's like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. I don't know when I'll get it together, but I'll take it. I'm like, your shop's twice mine size. You got room to store it.
That's when you utilize that for like, hey, do you need some cutoffs, or you start loading them up with all the stuff you're fixing to get rid of? Just load them up.
No, I've tried that, and I've seen this man's shop. He makes my strap look like nothing. Yeah.
I know when I sold my CNC, the Bilbotics, to buy the Masso, when I sold it, he came by and he's like, oh yeah, I wish I had a table. Really? Here's a table. Oh, I wish I had. Oh, really? Here's.
Yep.
Let me load your truck right on up, buddy.
That's when I sold my Carbide 3D. The guy's like, yeah, I just need to go home and build a table. I go, no, you don't. He's like, what? I was like, you can have the table. Oh, well, the listing said just CNC. No, you can have the table. Seriously. Like, I'm going to put it in your truck, whether you want it or not. Take it. Oh, man, that's really nice of you.
Yeah,
it is. It means I don't have to get rid of it.
You were so happy when he finally left the driveway, right? You're like,
oh yes, yeah. All that 5 foot by 5 foot section of my shop is now open. So
yeah.
Well, all right. Well, Mustachio, you got some people you wanna thank.
I do. I sure do. We have a few awesome people out there that are helping us on Patreon, and in our same order, I will call out Scott from Willow Creek Lumber, Don from What's Next Woodworking, Matthew from Artigiano Serio, Victor from Whim Design, and Mr. Steve from Steve I Design. We thank you guys for your patronage. And if you would like to join them, we have multiple tiers with some pretty cool benefits thanks to our new sponsor. So you can look for some cool stuff coming in the monthly giveaways that we're running. And if you want to join, you can follow our links on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. And we thank you in advance.
Yep.
All right. So let's get to the nitty gritty here.
The meat and potatoes.
Meat and taters.
Whole reason we're here.
Potatoes.
This gentleman.
Aww.
Steve, why don't you give us a little bit of background on how you got started?
Well, I grew up on a farm in Illinois, and was just out with my dad every day, building hog sheds and moving grain bins and whatever else needed to be done. Kind of you have the task for the day and you don't really stop until you get it done, or you're going to be doing it in the morning plus that day's stuff. So we were always just building stuff and doing things. I always enjoyed that, and I never really felt like I could go on and be a farmer full time. I just didn't know if I had it in me. So I went to school to be a civil engineer, and that's what I do today still. But man, I just love getting out in the shop and getting my mind on other things, or trying to see if I can make something happen or work. And so that's kind of the whole, I guess I've just been doing it my whole life, it seems like. But I really started posting stuff on social media just as more of a way to document some of the things I was doing, because at the time, when my kids were little, and even today, they think the stuff I do and mess around with is pretty cool, but they just aren't really into it. Right. So I'm like, well, someday they'll have a whole bunch of videos they can go through and check out if they really want to. And it's kind of funny though, because I've got all these friends online now through the maker community and such. And for years I was telling them to not go talk to strangers online, and
here you are.
Here I am with you guys. No, I'm just kidding. But going to meet people like Workbench Con, and now this next month I'm going to go to AWFS in Vegas, and
Nice.
So excited to go do that. But just been busy building things, and growing up it was just woodworking stuff mostly. And then as I got older, I was trying some different things, a little welding, now recently 3D printing and CNC in the last few years, and just really enjoy trying to figure out how things work and if I can get things to work. And sometimes that's my downfall too, because if I get a project to a point where I'm like, okay, it'll work, I have a really hard time with that, like that last 10 or 20%. Where there's a lot of time needed still, but I'm like, I already figured it out, so I don't really want to do it anymore. Kind of want to move on to the next project. And
Yep.
So
I do that all the time.
Yeah, so I got a whole bunch of projects that are almost done, like a lot of people do. But yeah, it's fun.
So when you made that marble, that marble chase,
Yeah,
or the Marble Lake Runner. Oh, are we in that room right now? Oh, so cool.
Oh, so
yeah, it's up there.
I love those. I love those things.
Yeah, and I made that. I don't. My son was like 4, and he's 22 now, and it's still my best YouTube video ever.
Was that
unfortunately?
So was that for the kids, or was that for you?
It's for me. It was for me. Well, and I planned the whole thing out, and I'm like, trying to put this proposal through to my wife. I'm like, okay, hear me out. Like, put a track all the way around the room. It'll be in the top couple feet. We'll never hang stuff there anyway. And she's like, all right, yeah, okay. And it took a while. It was probably a couple 100 hours overall to build that track and get it all in there. Every time I ask my son, should we take the track down? He's like, no, we can leave it. I'm like, all right.
I did the same thing, tried to sell her on a train set, going all the way around the room up top and putting a monorail train up underneath it.
Yeah,
it didn't work out.
It's funny. I never filmed it because it was back before I wanted to film stuff. But one of my favorite builds, I got commissioned to build was it G scale? So garden scale.
Yeah, big train.
Yeah. Train kit. I've done 2 of them now, and both of them are ceiling hung. One that is in a hobby shop in downtown Dallas, and another one for this guy that he's like, oh, I'm building out my man cave. And it is this guy has you talk about obsession with trains. Oh yeah. And so we built bridges that go, he's got beams that go across the room. And so we've got bridges that go across that and everything. And it's just, and his wife came out there, we were working on it. She's like, oh, this is what you spent your bonus on this year. He's like, yeah. And she's like, she looks at me and she goes, sweetheart, he roped you into this? I go, no, I'm the one he's paying to do this.
Exactly.
Well, would you like a sweet tea?
I'm his bonus now.
Or a lemonade? And I'm like, thanks. And oh yeah, it was.
I didn't
nice
realize
guy.
how valuable those things are.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Oh God.
My
Yeah.
wife came across where some guy bought a storage facility, like bought a couple of storage deals.
Mhm.
The gentleman passed away, and it was from floor to ceiling, slam packed of model train deals, and they start pricing this stuff out. I think the guy paid, I don't know, it was like maybe stupid. It was nothing, but the amount of money he made off of selling those trains and how much they cost,
Mhm.
I was like, what?
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I've got a good buddy from high school that he works for a company called Hobbytown, and he's one of the buyers for them. And he always jokes that when it comes to other like RC cars and models and stuff like that, he has a spending limit on those, because that stuff, there's not a whole lot of value in it in resale. But he's like, when it comes to train stuff, if we come across a hobby store that's shutting down, he goes, the option is you win the bid. That is your spending limit. You win the bid.
Yeah.
Because they could turn around and sell them for 4 times what they paid for them.
Wow.
Because there's some train
She
kits
said
out there that are never being made again. Yeah,
She
it's
said he
insane.
paid $2,000 for those storage deals, and I think that guy ended up making hundreds of thousands of dollars
Oh yeah.
and just selling it on eBay. Yeah, it was insane. It's crazy how much those things are worth, and I was like, really, trains?
Mhm.
Like,
Oh yeah, model trains are ridiculous. Well, they're all hand painted.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
some of them are,
yeah.
yeah.
The detail is just amazing. Oh yeah.
So in Helen, Georgia, no, and it's not Helen. Hold on, I got to think about where it's at. But there's a place that we go up to up in. It's not in Georgia. It's in North Carolina. We go up to this place up in North Carolina, and they do this train ride, the Polar Express kind of thing. And so we go up there, and it's we go up there as a family, go hang out, and it's pretty awesome. It's like an hour and a half, 2 hours down, and then you take the train all the way back as well. So both ways, and they do the whole skit that's for the Polar Express. You drink hot cocoa. You look at the lights and everything that's going on, but when you get off, there's a train museum that's right there. So you pay a little bit extra and get into the train museum, and you can spend hours inside this train museum. They got running trains, they got monorail trains, they got every single train that you can think of rolling. Plus, on the walls all the way around is nothing but cabinets built with train displays of all the trains. It's amazing.
Yeah.
We're getting a little off. Let's get back to the band.
Okay.
So
This is not
the kid in us
model
just
train
popped out.
podcast.
Trains.
but we got a question there in the chat, and I want to know about this because this is a pretty cool deal. So yeah,
This one?
BJ, you want to read that?
So, how did you come up with the larger shaper trace accessory, which still uses a shaper trace but allows you to do bigger projects? So, yeah, what was the?
So I had something I wanted to scan with my original shaper trace, and it was like an inch too short.
That's the story of my life.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
Hey, hold on. Here, hold on. Okay, continue, Steve.
Yeah, but I was like, well, if the software is scanning the trace, if I double it in size, it probably will think it's the same size shaper trace, and I'll just have to rescale the scan. And so I modeled the original in Fusion 360 and in Bamboo Slicer for my P1S. I cut it into pieces with holes and pegs, so they slide together for the joints. And with 6 pieces, the double size one goes together, and you can either glue them together with CA glue or whatever, or you can just put them together when you need it, and then you just put it on what your trace is, scan it, and then it comes out half size because it thinks it's still scanning the original size, and then you get your scan. And then I was like, well, wait a second, maybe if I do half size, it'll think it's like really big. So this fits like in, you get these little notebooks. I use these for work all the time. And this shaper trace will fit right in the back pocket of it, a mini size, so I can take one with me. And you start. The funny thing I found out was when I was originally doing it, I forgot to resize the circles on here, and I found out that the circle size doesn't matter so much as the placement. So there's a specific pattern. So this is a half size one, but the small circles are all a little bigger than what they are, true scale, and it still works okay. And I had multiple people contact me wanting to know if I could do a triple size frame. So I was like, should work. You start losing resolution of your camera on your phone.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it still works. And that one has, I think, 9 pieces.
Jeez.
That go together. So it takes like a kilogram and a half of filament for the settings I have, and takes a while to print, but yeah, it goes together great. And then I had multiple people contact me about if I had a file for CNC, so I was like, I should try that. So on my Onefinity, I carved out a double size, and I painted it black, painted the plywood, so I had some Baltic birch, painted it black on the surface, and then just carved off a little bit of the surface for the white circle. And hey, it worked. So then I did a triple size, and I'm like, okay, a quadruple size, 4 times the original size, is a little too big for my Foreman Elite. But yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't work. But yeah, it was kind of a fun exercise to see what works, and I had quite a few people purchase the 3D printed versions or the files for them, and so far works for everybody. And well, you know how it is, you can have a listing for a product, and I spell it out multiple times that you have to own the original shape or trace for it to work, and still people will buy the file and be like, well, this doesn't work, or you need to print it on the bamboo slicer when you send it to your printer. Well, I don't use that, I use Orca or something else. And well, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
that's the way the software works. You can't export in bamboo slicer, at least the last time I tried. When you do these joints with the pegs and the holes, when you export, one or the other doesn't come out in the model. I think the pegs are there, but the holes for the pegs don't come out in the export. So for the most part, most people are able to just jump in and use bamboo slicer and print it, and go back to the regular slicer. But it works amazingly well. And it was tempting to get an H2D, to try something, with either less joints or whatever. But I was like, it works fine for, the amount of time most people use it. I think it works great.
Yeah, and you utilized it for that Kaizen foam, correct?
Yeah, that
was cool.
That's something I wanted to do. And, it's carving the Kaizen foam. It can be kind of challenging. There's, from what I've found and the bit I use, there's only a few bits that work really well. And it's pretty fun watching it, carve the foam. The one thing it does do, though, it'll carve a strip, and then the whole strip will come off in one shot. So that can plug, it can either wrap around your bit and cause problems, or it can get kind of stuck in your dust boot. So you gotta, the trick I found is you try to make all your passes real short, so all these little bits of foam go up in your dust collection instead of like the long string pieces. And that seems to work really well. But it's so fun the first time you carve that foam, because it's black on the outer surfaces and it's red in the core. And when you get down to the red, you're like, oh yeah, that looks cool.
Yeah, I've never cut Kaizen on my CNC, but I've lasered it a couple times.
How'd that go?
I spent about 3 hours dialing in the settings. So I'd have to go back and kind of reference my notes, but I've got it to where I can get pretty close to the depth. So say instead of going halfway through, it cutting halfway through, and then you just have to be careful how much you pill out.
Yeah.
I had it dialed in to where I could say only cut in 1/4 of an inch.
Oh, nice.
And then peel that layer out, or cut it to a certain layer height. And the downside is, and the biggest thing is you have to move quick, because it is 1/4 inch deep or all the way through. depending on how fast, because it disintegrates with the laser. But man, watching it cut, like it cuts beautifully, and you can if you wanted to, you could cut out a hole pretty quick. And yeah, because I did both of my tool storage drawers, they're all laser cut, and it's nice. And I want to mess with it on the CNC. I guess you have to use an O-flute bit.
Yeah, I think that's the one I used.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple out there, but yeah, and I found, if I remember right, because it's been a few months now since I did it last, but you don't want to do like little pockets that all add up into one area being removed. You want to combine those, so you're cutting. If I remember right, you want to cut the outside first, and then the inside. Okay. So you do the profile pass first. I think that's the right way to say it. Otherwise, you end up with, if you don't have enough holding it when you cut through, it tends to maybe push some of it away, and then it kind of rebounds back.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Good to know. At least that's what how it worked out on mine when I was doing it. But for the most part, it's super satisfying when you take a tool and slide it down in that slot, and you're like,
perfect fit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's just so it's just a beautiful thing that everything's just organized in its spot when you open that drawer. It's nice. That is nice. Very nice.
Now I just got to remember to put those tools back when I get done using them.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
The trick is you leave the drawer that the tool's supposed to go in open.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Well, no, and
fill it up with sawdust. Trust me.
Yeah.
Yeah, just spraying sawdust in there.
So one thing I've been eager to ask you about, because I've been wanting to get one for myself, but it's just there's so many out there, and that's a 3D scanner.
Yeah,
I know you have one.
Yeah,
and I seen you do the barrels, and it's is it easy? Is this something that gets a good image that you can transfer to 3D printing? Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I've been using the Einstar Vega 3D scanner.
Oh, the Vega.
Yeah.
I have the regular one that I just got recently.
Yeah, it's a pricey tool or toy, whatever you want to call it. And I think they're $1,800 to $2,000, depending on if they're on sale. And I was so in this farm where I grew up. My dad is funny. He had this idea. He wanted to put a sign in front of the house, and it was the outline. It was a silhouette outline of a hog. Because in '86 he won a national show for barrows, and so he wanted to do this cutout. So we found a silhouette cutout in a farm magazine, traced it on this 1/4-inch thick sheet of steel that he had, cut it out with a torch, and we put it there. And I was like, as we get ready to possibly sell the family house and the buildings here this year, with them being in assisted living, I was like, I should really scan that hog sign. I think that'd be cool. And then maybe print Christmas ornaments out or something like that.
Oh, that'd be cool.
And so it's a black sign. It's like pitch black painted. He used the paint he used. He hasn't painted it for 20 years, and it looks like he painted it last week. I don't know. Amazing paint. But I had to put tracking dots all over this cutout because it doesn't want to scan black, and it doesn't want to scan reflective surfaces very well, like a lot of the scanners. And so I'm out there. It's like 35 degrees. The wind's blowing. I'm trying to scan this thing, and I also was using it's I can't
scanner spray.
It's scanner spray, a sub scanner spray. And so it's supposed to evaporate over 2 hours. And I'm out there, and it's so windy, it's evaporating in 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like going over it really fast. I'm like trying to scan, and all of a sudden I get a spot that's already evaporating. Oh, come on. And I'm spraying it again, and I'm like, oh, and it's a 1/4-inch thick. So I'm trying to put these little dots all over the base so I can go around the other side, and it'll calibrate. I'm like, oh my gosh. So it was blowing so hard, it finally blew my phone and tripod over. And I'm like, okay, I'm done today. And every time I go to my parents' house, it's like 30 to 40 mile an hour winds. I don't know what the problem is this year. So I left the dots on this sign, And then went back like a month later. I'm like, I'm going to get it this time. Oh, look, the dots are still up there. They haven't fallen off. This is perfect. And then like the next day I go to do it and it's like 30-mile-an-hour winds. I'm out there again spraying it with scanner spray. And I still don't have a great scan of that sign, but it's a great scanner. It's the really, I think the big point of that one is it's a standalone. It's got its own batteries. It's got its own really nice high definition screen. You can do all of the stuff on it. And the only thing that happens is it will run the battery down fast if you're scanning slow, like this guy. If you're having problems, you'll run the battery down pretty quick, but you can have it running while you're charging it. So you can
have a
plug
battery
in
pack or something.
Yeah. Plug in a battery pack. It can take a while if you do high definition. It can take a while to process. It's a phenomenal scanner. It really is. But it's the only one I've ever used. I've played around with a couple of years ago, and they just didn't work very well. This one really works great. There's certain things. It's really hard to catch, like tools. Like I scanned Surf Prep. A couple of surf prep standers, and there's so many like angles you got to try to scan at, or you end up with holes in the model. So that can be a challenge if you've got a really complicated thing you're trying to scan. The whiskey barrels I scanned. There's a local distillery, and I do custom barrel top engraving for them because they'll have companies or families will get a custom barrel blended for them. And then they'll send a logo in. I'll do a mock-up, send it to the owner. He'll let me know if I need to modify anything, and then they'll drop off a few barrels, and I'll laser engrave them over a weekend, and they'll pick them back up. And a barrel is sometimes there's not a lot of difference. If you spin it, sometimes it's hard to tell where you're at. So you got to put tracking dots on there too at times, and then the metal bands can be a little reflective. So yeah, sometimes you got to use scanning spray on something like that to get better reflectivity. But for the most part, it's pretty amazing what you can do with it.
So just to go a little bit further on that, my whole mentality of it is kind of like you scan the Surf Prep sander, and my whole thing was I like to make things for tool organization, to hang, etc. Right?
Yeah.
So by doing that and able to scan that sander at scale, right?
Yeah.
Then you can take that theoretically into your software and use that to model your hanger for it, right? I mean, is that how that could work? Make a negative space.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the idea was I was trying to make a holder that, and I haven't finished the process yet, but I have a 3x4 Surf Prep sander that I made a holder for. And then I wanted to do one with a 5-inch diameter. And
well, honey,
those are Joey's holders.
Christmas is coming, so you can put that box under the tree for me.
Well, I was going to tell you, Joey,
for me.
But the idea was to take both scale, scans of the sanders and put them into a block, do negative space of both of them, and then you should theoretically be able to put either sander into that holder, and it should stay there. But I just haven't finished that up with all the other stuff going on in my world.
Yeah, I was just curious if because that's the whole reason is to get perfect modeling of whatever you're using. I mean, the way I do my stuff is, through mics and just measuring and finally form it. And then I can, and that would kind of take lot of the
barrel. I mean, you can see the little rivets in the band right there in the plug. This one I made a flat bottom on it because there's a recess on a whiskey barrel on each end, and then I just created a negative space for the hole. So now this is just a pencil holder.
It's absolutely cool. I was watching that. I was like, dude, I need one of those. I definitely need one of those.
Yeah.
I'll send you
one of those scanners. Yeah, that's cool though. But those, I knew it would possibly work that way. I just needed to talk to somebody and ask them if that was the right frame of mind I was thinking to be able to utilize that scanner like that. And I figured it would be, just from how I do things, design part, I'm like, that would cut a lot of time out and just simplify things by using that,
It possibly could, yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, and I was talking to 3D Dave before I bought the regular Einstar, and he did the same thing, Steve. He upgraded to the Vega one, and oh my god, I was looking at the stats between the regular Einstar and versus the Vega, and it's like 1.5. Oh god, I forget what the thing is, but like the scan it takes in is like the Vega's 48 or something, and the regular Einstar is like 1.5 or whatever.
You can create some really large files really quick because of scanning so many points. And I think the problem is most people run into is you're scanning slower than you should, right? It'll scan fairly fast. So sometimes you're scanning too slow, and it can be a problem from what I've found. And sometimes if you go like around an object and come back around and overlap an area, once in a while there'll be a slight shift. So you don't want to overlap very much. We were scanning my youngest son, and he ended up with, 2 noses sticking out of his face. It looked pretty contorted, and that's like, okay, we'll redo that later.
Yeah, but I mean, like that once 3D Dave got that Einstar, like he was scanning, because he has hundreds and hundreds of makers that he's scanned over the years.
Maker scan project,
and once he upgraded to that Einstar, like, oh man, that because he would always be tethered to a computer, get that scan put in.
Yeah, and he, I've seen some other people with it go out and they'll scan, like a piece of fungus on a log or something like that, a toadstool or a mushroom or something, and then you print it out and they paint it and it looks like the real thing. I mean, it's amazing.
That's just cool.
It's just perfect. But it's a really nice setup, and it just takes a lot of practice getting used to scanning and getting your settings right, because you can do low, medium, and high resolution. And the higher resolution you do, you can't get as far away and do a bigger object. So you kind of got to balance resolution versus distance or size of object. And once you do that, you start learning what really works. Like with any tool, you get more comfortable and you get faster and more efficient.
So let me ask you, for some of the smaller stuff, are you putting that like on a Lazy Susan with like dots on it and just kind of like moving that along, or how are you typically like scanning stuff?
Yeah, so like the whiskey barrels, I just walked around them on the concrete floor, and I put some tracking dots on the floor around it as well, so it could calibrate as well. And then the sanders, I actually took a tripod, and then the little arm that sticks out of the tripod I have that locks it from panning up and down. I just stuck that arm sticking straight up, and then I took the dust hose off my sander and stuck that little handle right up through the dust collection hole. So it was like basically all up in the air. And then I think on those I just use scanning spray.
I believe so. I believe that you did.
I think I tried it once with some tracking dots, and it didn't make it much of a difference. So then the final ones where I did them for the videos, I just did the scanning spray, and it doesn't leave any residue. It's works really, really well. Just gives it kind of a cloudy appearance. It looks like it's almost faded out, like the colors are faded, but a couple hours later it looks like normal. I tried to scan behind my parents' house, there's an old pump well from, I don't know, 80, 90 years ago or something. And it was always a cool well. It was big pump handle. And as kids, we'd go out there and just crank on that thing, and it'd take forever to get water to come out of it, probably because the seals were out or something. But we always thought it was fun. And I thought that, it's got the cast iron with the raised letters and stuff. And I thought, oh, that'd be really cool to scan. And so I sprayed it. I put tracking dots on it. And again, super windy day. And I got all of it. And I was looking at the screen, and it's like a 7-inch screen, I think. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, I think I got it all. This is awesome. And I drive back home 200 miles away the next day, and I open up the model, and like the handle's got a messed up part because it's real thin and it's hanging out, in the air. I was like, oh man. So yeah, it's just a lot of practice and making sure you have good coverage of scanner spray or tracking dots. And you don't want to evenly space the tracking dots. You want to really change the spacing so it doesn't mistake one pair of dots for another pair of dots.
Okay.
So that helps as well.
That's cool, man. You have to look into that. But we got another question here from Mr. Sullivan. I think we all know the answer to this, but we're gonna ask you, BJ, if you want to give that a read.
I think Jason knows what my favorite clamp is.
What's your favorite clamp, and how many times have you changed your organization system for them?
Well, so I'm going to go back a couple of years. So my favorite clamp is Bessie clamps. I think my favorite one of the Bessies is the quick clamps, just the 12 or 18 inch long ones they're lightweight. They're not a parallel clamp per se, but I don't always need parallel clamping, and they're just always so handy and quick to throw on something. The way that I've got them all on French cleat hangers, and it was kind of funny at the time. I was doing a project for Inventables, and I said, hey, how about if I do like clamp holders? And the guy at Inventables was like, oh, that sounds like a cool project. And I said, if it's okay with you, I'm going to reach out to Bessie and see if I can use her logo. And he's like, yeah, okay. So I reached out to Bessie and just said, hey, would it be okay to use your logo on this CNC project that I'm going to hang a bunch of your clamps on? And they came back and they said, yeah, that'd be awesome. We'll send you the DXF file. And can we send you some clamps?
Oh, now we're talking.
Please, no, don't do that.
Yeah, I was like, okay. Yeah, okay. Sure. And that was the beginning of a beautiful relationship.
Oh, I love their clamps, and wow.
Yeah,
awesome.
And they've been fantastic. They a lot of times when something comes out, it sounds like I'm one of the first ones to get new items that come out, and I'm more than happy to show those off. And I took the original holders I made for the clamps. I carved out the logo, and then I filled them with epoxy. And it's a lot of time to make one clamp holder, but man, they look so good on the wall.
They do, and I'm envious, man. Those when I saw you doing that, I was like, oh, those are freaking sweet. When you started, it's nice, very very nice.
And it's funny that the people at Bessie, I mean, they have been so nice, and they're so easy to work with. And one of their top marketing people just retired, so they've got some they're definitely busy there right now with him leaving. But man, they've just been nice people. They've been at Workbench Con the last few years, and I wasn't there this spring, but last couple of years before that I was, so 3 years. And they've always just been great to work with. And of course their clamps are phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I use pretty much what I use here in my shop. That's all I have really, except for, the oddballs here and there, but I love the parallel clamps. I mean, they're great.
I kind of trashed them there for a little bit because they're parallel clamps, because they have the not serrated, but it's got the whatever you want to call it
on the bar.
Yeah. And if glue gets in them, it's you can jam up your clamp.
Yeah.
And I was using the Jorgensen clamps, and they're smooth bar.
Oh.
And using those one day and doing something, just not paying attention, going to close it, and I had one, a 4-foot clamp, had it slide all the way down the bar and smash the heck out of my hand. And I was like, you know what? I've never had one of my Bessie clamps do that. Okay. And then I had 3 in one project. I had 3 of the F clamps fail.
Of the Bessie?
Of the Bessies. At 3. Now these are clamps I'd actually I'd gotten from somebody else. So he'd had them for years, and they were the like $20 4-pack that you could buy from like Home Depot or whatever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the rail that had failed; it was the mechanism inside.
Oh,
like somehow it had gotten sheared off.
Yeah.
And I sent him a message like, "Hey, somehow I had 3 of these in one project that they will not clamp. Like nothing I can do will get them to clamp." And they go, "Okay, here's this link. Fill this out." And a week later, I think they actually sent me 4 clamps, not 3.
Yeah. Wow.
I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Well, they're actually pretty legit." Yeah, and yeah, they're not bad.
I know a lot of people will wax the bars on the parallel clamps so the glue just falls off or chips off easy. I haven't done that to mine yet, but
I do that, and I've had people like, "Oh, just put blue tape on it." It just the wax for me, and it's enough to where just the action of closing the clamp, it shears all the glue off of them. When you have them waxed, it just every bit of glue that's on there comes off completely.
Yeah, I found an old like 3/4 full, I think it's Johnson Space Wax, the other day. I was like, "Oh, score! I'm going to finally do those Bessie bar clamps."
I did not realize that has been discontinued.
Yeah, I almost felt like I should post it and say, "I know what I have here. What do you want to offer?"
Yeah, I posted in a woodworking group. I saw that, and I was like, "We'll trade for a new Corvette or this. No haggling. I know what I have." And everybody was laughing at it, like, "That's yeah," because they had posted some museum was sent out a big message saying, "Hey, anybody that has this, because it to preserve these models or statues that they have, that's what they use."
Wow.
And it's because of the chemical makeup of Johnson's paste wax. It's the safest thing they found to use to preserve these models or whatever. I can't remember exactly what it was. And so they were like, "Hey, anybody who wants to send this to them, you can." I'm like, no. I kind of like my paste wax.
Yeah. And that's for years I used it and it worked great. Just time consuming, and then going over to that bow shield. I love that stuff, especially down here with real high humidity. And my stuff, I haven't had to redo them, and it's been months now. And I'm just like, I'm sold, I still have some Johnson's paste wax. Like I think I got two drums of it sitting in the deal, but it.
Joey, are you putting that on your clamps or your table saw or what?
I went off a different direction, but even like I didn't do it to them all, but some of my hand planes, once I got them all squared away, I sprayed them down with bow shield because we do get a lot of humidity and my shop's not climate controlled yet.
Yeah.
And I just, because that stuff's expensive and the last thing you wanted is to rust, clamps. So even like you're talking the clamps, they'll get a little, even if you get glue, I know y'all seen it, your clamps will get that oxidation on them. I don't know. It turns that darker gray and it almost gets real rough. Have y'all had that issue on some of those rails?
I haven't seen it yet, but
okay. And so I've just kind of been using that quite a bit, and just knock them out if they're getting out of hand. Plain and simple. We don't need that in here, so delete them. Sorry, Steve.
That's right.
But I've been using it. I love the stuff. I always looked at it when I go in there and it's like, man, that's pretty pricey stuff. But then, they reached out to me, they send it to me and I tried it. And I had an old, I've got an old Powermatic 66 table saw and actually my Grizzly joiner, when I moved to this place, some of that stuff stayed in storage and it had gotten a little out of hand. I didn't have time to mess with it. And it brought it back, and I was like, wow, this stuff's pretty good. That rust remover, it worked really well. And so I'm like, been using that So yeah. So anyhow, sorry I got off in a little tangent there, but
No problem.
Joey got off on a tangent. No.
What? I did want to ask you, Steve, because that was one of the. I mean, you've done a ton of awesome like projects over the time that I've followed you.
Thanks.
One of the many was how you did your drill organization with the sliding brackets on the back.
Oh yeah,
for like drill holders and stuff.
Yeah,
like that was that. Did you just kind of like how did you kind of like come up with that? I guess is my question.
Because I tend to overanalyze everything. Apparently,
no,
engineers do that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I need to make a tool holder. I need to make a tool holder, and then I couldn't decide on like the order of the tools going across it. And I was like, man, if I could just do something to make them slide, I could adjust the spacing. And so I was like, oh, maybe I could do it with T-Track. And I just kind of played with some different models. And I was like, wow, maybe if I do parallel T-Tracks and, a bolt going in, at the top and bottom of these holders, I could just slide them around. And then it's all set up for a French cleat wall. So if you build one, you build another beside it, you can just slide them right through from one holder to the next. So I've got two on the wall. And, I got it all set up, and then I didn't really change it very much for probably a year or so. And then all of a sudden I like, why am I not changing this? I should be changing this for, getting the tools I use the most closer to where I'm working. So now I'll move it quite a bit as I get some different things in place hanging up there. And just did it a couple weeks ago for the router. I just got a cordless DeWalt router. So put that up there. I was like,
nice.
Yeah, but yeah, that one, just trying to make things as flexible as possible. And I've had quite a few people buy the plans for that over the years. It's really an easy project because it's just a lot of straight cuts, and you can do it with plywood and T-Track. And so it's a pretty easy project overall, especially just the part that you hang your tools on. And you don't really need to make like the shape of the holding bracket that I have. You could just do really, some rectangles, if you really wanted to. But I was trying to maximize the absolute most out of that hanging area. And that was also kind of a project to show off the Inventables X-Carve CNC. And, but yeah, you can cut as many holders as you want. And if you want to, expand it, you can just cut more holders, and yeah, it works really well.
So, okay. So talking about tool storage and stuff like that. So are you a first order of retrievability? Like you want everything out easy to grab, or are you a drawer guy?
I'm probably
50-50.
It depends on the kind of project. I've got under my CNC, I've got a shelf under there on the Craig workbench that it's on. And I've just got a row of tools along the whole front of it. And it's stuff for the CNC, but it's also stuff that I might work on the table behind me at. But I just know most of the stuff I'm going to grab is right there. But like certain things I don't want sitting out because I don't want to bump them off the workbench and break them or ding them. And so I've got some nicer stuff I'll put in the toolbox, or I've got some old tools in there. I've got one bin that's got like an old brace drill and a couple other items that were my mom's dad. So I would hate for him to look down and see something get dropped on the floor and break.
That's me. Like I've got my grandpa's old number 6 or number 7 Stanley, and his old bit and brace set, and the brace it's hanging on the wall with the plane, and it's I probably never use it. The plane I use every once in a while, but the brace, it's like I've used it one time just to kind of see how it works.
Yeah,
I was like, what, a power drill is a really wonderful thing.
Yeah, I really want to get in more into hand tools, and I just seem to gravitate more towards CNCs and 3D printers and power tools and such. And
I tell you what, Steve, if you do I was always hesitant, right? And then I haven't had a whole lot of opportunity to use the ones I have, but it is addicting, especially, you know, I don't know if everybody has done it, but I went and bought a cheapo and got frustrated because it wasn't doing it right. But when you buy something that's somewhat quality, and it's sharp, it is simply amazing to use. And I will just leave it at that. And when you get them and you start using them, then, you know, it was one of those things that I was hesitant of doing just because of the fact that, you know, I don't know a whole lot about it. And there's so many different ones. Like, what do I get? And 3D DIY Dave was one. We were on the stoop one night. Yeah. And I asked him because he has a lot of Veritas stuff. Yeah. And he kind of set me in the right track. And then from there, you know, started. And then, you know, we know Steve I. And then Steve I has a massive collection of hand planes. And boy, it's
and the boxes came rolling in.
Yeah, they did. And
don't talk about that here.
so you say boxes, and I come out of Woodcraft today, and I was walking to the vehicle, and I threw it in there, and my grandson's like, "Papaw, what is that?" And I said, "That's your inheritance. Hush up." My wife,
everything the light touches, my son, will be yours one day.
Oh god! Or the light hasn't touched yet.
Yeah.
It's still in the box.
This looks new. Yeah, it's because it's new.
You know, Grandpa had all these tools, and they were really cool. He never used any of them.
Yeah.
Do you guys what we'd like to say a collector?
He was always planning. Do you guys know Chris Giffro? I think that's how you say his last name, from Cowdog.
Oh yeah, I made his little bandy clamps.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
So he's the guy who's doing, you know, the thin shavings with the pole planes, you know, and his wife is from here in Iowa, and they've got friends that live pretty close to me. And he called me last spring, and he's like, "Hey, I sent a table from Florida up to our friends, and it was in this hot semi, and I used hide glue, and it like pulled apart a little bit. Could I possibly use your shop for an afternoon and put this table back together?" I'm like, "Oh, sure." And he was here, and he's like, "Hey, do you have a chisel?" And I'm like, "Oh, I do. It's not going to be as sharp as you want it to be," because he's like just crazy good at sharpening things, and I was almost embarrassed to give it to him, you know. But he muddled through it.
I use it to open paint cans and scrape glue off of stuff.
Yeah. I have a special chisel for that.
Yeah, we all do. Everybody does. Everybody.
I have two of them.
It doesn't hurt your soul if you chip a piece off of that one. You know, that's what it's for.
Hey, that is why I've said Harbor Freight chisels are the best chisels to have in your shop. Yes, have a high quality set, but if you want a throw around set, Harbor Freight makes a great chisel.
The paint can and glue chisel.
Yeah.
With the phenolic handle. It's made back in the 60s, still smells.
A bunch of mine are just the whole top is just mushroom from with the hammer, you know, and it's like, you know, I'm okay with messing those up.
You know, it's not made to bang on steel, right?
You know.
I didn't know that when I bought the chisels. Do now. I have a chisel mallet now.
It's you're like, you know, whatever's in your hand at the time when you're doing something. Like my pocket knife's been a screwdriver. It started the tractor once, and that was the last time I used it to start the tractor. I got a bright idea, and I couldn't find the screwdriver. Across the starter.
Needles there for a reason.
The push button was messed up on it, and it was hot, so I grabbed my pocket knife and I stuck it across the deal. It started it, but it blew the tip off of my pocket knife because it's 24 volts. Not a hard thing to do. So I was like, yeah, maybe I need to leave a screwdriver in this tractor. So
The one with an insulated handle.
that knife gets used as a hammer. I mean, it's just totally annihilated.
Hey.
We were in a shop, and we went into a knife shop. We were just shopping, and we were looking around. You know, it's kind of a tourist town, and there we walked into a knife place because my boys, they are just love knives, right?
Yeah.
And I walked in there, and I'm looking at the price of these things, and I'm like, geez, I didn't know knives could get this expensive, you know? And I pull out this iBrand knife with the tip blown off, and that guy's looking at me like, what is wrong with you? You know, because he's got all these fancy knives, and I'm showing him, yeah, look at this. It's got indentions for miles, hitting it, using it like a hammer. And he's like, you monster.
Get out of my shop now and never come back.
Get out of here.
This is where I cut up kindling right here.
See, and you know, because I've got the bourbon blade, and it's a decent chisel and it's an okay pocket knife. But for an all around, because it's got the, you know, you can use the butt of it as a hammer if you need to. Like I've abused it, and you know it keeps going. But
how's it do on paint cans?
I haven't done that yet. That's what the Gerber multi
opener.
Yeah, that's what the Gerber multi tool's for. That's what Joey needs. He needs to just carry a multi tool around.
Oh no, why? I got that.
That's
knife.
not fancy enough. It's got to be fancy. It's got to be bougie.
Bougie. I'm a bougie boy. Anyhow, boys, why don't we wrap this up?
For the ribbon.
Yes, sir. Steve, thank you for taking the time being with us tonight.
Absolutely.
Everybody, all of Steve's links are below in the show notes or in the description of the show. Go check out his channel. Go give him a follow. He does some very cool stuff on his platform. You will really like it. And go check out his website. Everything's listed down below. And thank you. It was a pleasure you being on here tonight. Just want to remind everybody to head on over to iTunes or Spotify. Leave us a review. It'd be helpful. Comment. Leave some comments down here on the YouTube. Give us a thumbs up. Once it's done, come back. Leave us a comment of your thoughts. Anything you might want us to talk about. You can also email us at creativemakerspodcast@gmail.com. We really want to hear from y'all.
Yeah.
Send us an email.
Send us some topic ideas or questions you might have that we can answer on here.
Get out there, and also don't forget to head on over to our Patreon. Check it out. If you feel in there to support us, we would greatly appreciate it. And next week we're going to have a topic again, and a big shout out to Boss Dog Wood Glue. Their links down below too.
Yep.
For all your wood glue needs and CA glue needs, go check them out. They've got some cool boxes, some new outdoor glue. They got some. I like that package they have now, where you can get a sample pack.
He's all about the boxes. He's all about the boxes.
You know, it's good. It's a box, and it all comes in there like its own little storage. It's great.
I know you love boxes, Joey.
Go get you one. Go get you one. Anyhow, guys, thank y'all. Have a good Sunday evening. Anybody else got anything they want to say?
I just want 10
Have
stars.
an awesome week.
I want 10 stars.
10 stars.
10 stars.
10 of them.
All right, boys, let's get on out of here.
Let's
We'll
go.
see y'all next week. Same time, same place, same beautiful faces.
Thanks, guys.
Out of here.